Hello everyone and welcome back to Sky is the Limit. I'm Mr. Sky. In today's lesson we are going to look at the present simple tense in English. There are several present tenses in English, so it's important to know when to use the present simple. We use the present simple to talk about habits, routines, permanent situations and states. A state verb describes you physically and mentally. An action verb does an action. So how do we conjugate the present simple? You'll be pleased to know that it's simple. Okay, so let's conjugate the verb to work. Everyone has a job. Everyone works. To work is the infinitive form. You remove to, this is the base verb. We always conjugate with the base verb. So, we can see that first person singular, I work, we just use the base verb. We haven't added anything, we haven't really conjugated anything. What about you in your language? How do you say I work? Do you use the base verb or do you conjugate? Next, second person singular, you work. Still, we use the base verb. Nothing has changed yet. You notice that I've placed you work in the middle of singular and plural because you in English is both singular and plural. What about you in your language? Do you have one pronoun, like you, that is the singular and the plural form? Or do you have two different pronouns, one for singular, one for plural? Third person singular, he, she, it, works. And finally we've conjugated. He, she, it, we always add an S. Just a little reminder, he we use for boys or men. She we use for girls or women, and it we use for objects or animals where we don't know the sex. In English, we don't have a masculine and feminine form of nouns, so everything is an object, it, and not he or she. Now on to the plural form, first person plural, we work. We're back to the base verb. And third person plural, they work, and we're back to the base verb again. So we can see that we don't conjugate very much in English. We conjugate so little that people tend to forget the S with he, she, it. So I'm going to highlight it. To make it even easier, we could say I, you, we, they work. He, she, it works. Now let's look at some examples. We eat lots of vegetables. A habit. He works every day. A routine. They live in London. A permanent situation. I love bones. A state. Anything that is a preference verb is a state verb. Can you think of any examples of the present simple? Leave your examples in the comments. So what do you think? English is easy, isn't it? So let's do the question form. You'll see it's easy too. We need an auxiliary to ask a question in English. We use the auxiliary do with the simple tense. So let's conjugate do, and we'll go straight to the simple, quicker form. I, you, we, they do. He, she, it does. Now, any verb in English that ends with O, like do or go, In the present simple tense, before we add the S with he, she, or it, we add an E. So the ending is ES rather than just S. Okay, so let's transform the previous examples into questions. We eat lots of vegetables. The verb is conjugated in the base form, so we add the auxiliary do before the subject in the base form. Do we eat lots of vegetables? He works every day, so we see that the verb is being conjugated with an S because the subject is he. So now when we add the auxiliary, we need to conjugate the auxiliary do with he, she, it, which of course is the form does. Because we've conjugated the auxiliary, we don't conjugate the verb. Does he work every day? They live in London. We've used the base verb, so we use the base verb auxiliary. Do they live in London? I love bones. The base verb, so base verb for the auxiliary. Do I love bones? Of course I love bones. What a silly question. So you see, English is so easy. So let's go for it. Let's do the negative form. To make the present simple negative, we need do plus not. It's normal in spoken English to contract. So do, not, we slide the two words together to make one. We take away the O, and where we've taken away the O, we put an apostrophe. Do not becomes don't. And for third person singular, does not, we slide the two words together, we take away the O, we put an apostrophe where the O was, and now does not becomes doesn't. So again, we go back to our original examples, and we're going to make them negative. We eat lots of vegetables. Now we need to put the negative form, don't, in front of the verb. The verb was in the base form, so the auxiliary do is in the base form. We don't eat lots of vegetables. He works every day. We conjugated he with an S, so now we conjugate do with an S, ES if you remember, and again we slide it in front of the verb. He doesn't work every day. They live in London, base form. They don't live in London, base form. I love bones, base form. I don't love bones. But oh my God, that's ridiculous. Of course I love bones. So, congratulations, you've made it to the end of the lesson. Did you enjoy this lesson? Do you understand, or do you have any questions? Leave your questions, comments, or examples of the present simple in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe for free lessons every week. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Have a great day.